All right, when you hear the word Pepsi, you probably picture a can of cola, right? The endless rival to Coke. But that's not even close to the whole story. To be honest, it's not even the most interesting part. Because the real story of PepsiCo isn't about soda. It's about a series of brilliant, absolutely audacious gambles. Let's get into it. So let me just start with this question. What if I told you that for a short, totally bizarre period of time, the company known for soft drinks was also a major global naval power? I know, it sounds like something out of a movie, but it's a huge clue that helps you understand how this company really thinks.
Yep, that's right. In this wild trade deal for Pepsi syrup, the Soviet Union paid with warships. The PepsiCo CEO at the time even joked that he was disarming the Soviet Union faster than the Pentagon. This wasn't just a weird piece of trivia. It was a signal. It showed this is a company that has always played by its own rules, a challenger that is always willing to make a crazy move to get ahead.
And that brings us to the first really big point we need to make. To get PepsiCo, you have to completely erase the idea that it's just a soda company. The reality is so much bigger and honestly way more fascinating. And this slide right here, this is where that old cola myth just completely falls apart. Just look at this revenue breakdown. The North American drinks business, the part we all think of first, is only about 30% of their revenue. An equal chunk comes from food, and the biggest slice of the pie, a massive 40%, is international. This isn't a soda company that dabbles in snacks. It's a global food and beverage empire. And this number just beautifully illustrates the scale of that empire. 23. Think about that. They have 23 different brands that each, on their own, pull in over $1 billion a year. We're talking about giants like Lay's, Doritos, Gatorade, Quaker Oats. The real power of PepsiCo isn't in that one blue can, it's in this massive, incredibly powerful family of brands. So how in the world did they build all this? Well, to understand that, you have to look at the company's DNA. From the very beginning, Pepsi has defined itself not just by what it is, but by what it isn't. Coca-Cola. It's the ultimate story of the perpetual challenger. You know, this company almost didn't even make it. It was founded in 1898, but a terrible bet on sugar prices drove it into bankruptcy in 1923. It was pretty much dead. But then came this critical move in 1931. In the middle of the Great Depression, the new owner, Charles Guth, did something brilliant. He started selling a 12-ounce bottle for the same nickel that Coke was charging for just 6 ounces. Twice as much for a nickel. It wasn't about being better, it was about being a better deal. And that single move saved the brand and locked in its identity as the scrappy underdog. And that underdog mindset leads directly to their most famous move. By 1975, Coca-Cola's brand was untouchable. It was history, nostalgia, Americana. Pepsi couldn't win by playing Coke's game, so they just changed the game completely. The Pepsi challenge wasn't just some clever marketing. It was like asymmetric warfare. It completely sidestepped the branding and asked one simple, dangerous question. If you just ignore the label, which one actually tastes better? And oh my gosh, it worked better than they ever could have imagined. This campaign got so deep inside Coca-Cola's head that it pushed them into making what is probably the single biggest marketing mistake of the entire 20th century, New Coke. Pepsi had officially rattled the giant, proving that a smart challenger can actually force the big guy to make a huge mistake. But look, winning a marketing battle is one thing. Building a lasting empire that no one can touch, that's something else entirely. And that required what is probably the single most important strategic decision in the entire history of PepsiCo. This was it, the 1965 merger with Frito-Lay. This was the masterstroke. It created a company that retailers simply could not ignore. Hey, you want the world's most popular potato chips? Well, you're probably going to want the world's second most popular cola right there next to them. It gave them incredible leverage and a super resilient, high-margin snack business that Coca-Cola had absolutely no answer for. And that merger came with a hidden superpower, the Frito-Lay Direct Store Delivery System, or DSD. Now, I know this sounds like boring logistics, but trust me, this is a weapon of retail dominance. It means their own people are inside the stores every single day, stocking the shelves, putting up displays, and seeing what's selling in real time. They don't just sell to stores, they basically control the snack aisle. And the scale of this whole thing is just staggering. Over 200,000 stores are serviced every single day. This is PepsiCo's competitive moat. For a competitor to build a network like this from scratch today would cost billions and take decades. Nobody can replicate it. This system is the true engine of the empire, making sure their products are always right there, perfectly placed for you to grab.
So, with this incredibly powerful foundation in place, PepsiCo started this relentless journey of evolution. The company we see today wasn't built in a day. It was put together, taken apart, and then rebuilt again and again through some really distinct strategic phases.
You can really map out their history in chapters. First, they were the pure beverage challenger. Then came the Frito-Lay diversification. After that, they entered this wild phase where they built a fast food empire, owning KFC, Pizza Hut, and Taco Bell. Once they spun that off, they went on a massive shopping spree for iconic brands, before finally evolving into their current phase, which is all about health and sustainability. It's just a constant pattern of reinvention. And these weren't just random acquisitions. They were absolute game changers. Buying the fast food chains guaranteed them fountain drink sales. But the really transformative move was buying Quaker Oats in 2001. Why? Because Quaker Oats came with Gatorade, giving them total dominance in the exploding sports drink category. Yet another area where Coke was just left playing catch-up. This whole evolution really peaked under CEO Indra Nooyi. Her performance with purpose framework wasn't just some nice corporate PR. She saw the writing on the wall, that consumers were shifting away from sugar and looking for healthier options. She started fundamentally changing the company's DNA years before it became a full-blown crisis, getting PepsiCo ready for the future of food. Which brings us to today. The company is now facing a brand new set of really complex challenges. Everything from activist investors to totally new consumer habits, and it's forcing them to place their next big bets on the future. Okay, this chart right here, this highlights the huge problem that has activist investors circling. Look at that massive gap in how much profit Coke makes from its drinks versus how much Pepsi makes. It's about a 10% difference. And it really comes down to one key decision. Coke sold off its expensive bottling operations while Pepsi kept them. That created a huge structural disadvantage that is now at the very center of the debate over the company's future. And the problems are coming from a few different directions. You've got intense pressure from investors to fix that profitability gap. You've got the rise of new weight loss drugs like Ozempic, which could permanently change how people snack. And on top of that, their own portfolio has just gotten too big and complicated, forcing them to start cutting back to focus on their star players. So what's the plan? You can see their strategy playing out in their latest big money acquisitions. They aren't just buying more of the same old thing. They're buying brands like Poppi, a so-called gut health soda, betting on the functional beverage trend, and Siete Foods, a premium brand, to grab a piece of the fast-growing Hispanic food market. These are very targeted bets on where they think our tastes are going next. And all of this leads to the ultimate question facing the company today. The path forward is not obvious at all. Do they finally fix the bottling problem to make more money? Do they go all in on health and wellness and buy even more brands? Or is the real prize in just doubling down on their massive international business? There's no single easy answer, which is exactly what makes PepsiCo one of the most fascinating business stories out there. So I'll leave you with this. If you were in the driver's seat, what would you do?